Okay. Welcome to another video on our series of the EmonCMS setup, the basic setup. The last video we stopped at creating the feeds for the web app. I think which also the same general idea for creating feeds for if you're going to use a proper dashboard you built from scratch rather than just the web apps. But so this is a good explainer or basic overview. The lot of much more complex stuff you can do with EmonCMS, which makes it really great for so many things. Now we stopped at the part where we created the feeds for the battery charge power and battery discharge power. Now we need to do one for cumulative solar generation that is used directly in kilowatts. So I will quickly show how we can do that. The idea is that this is basically a feed for what is used from solar directly into load and not the batteries. So what we need to do is take the solar generation feed, uh, subtract the what is going into the batteries from solar, which would give us a number, that number being what is being consumed directly as load or whatever by the load. Now that number we then extrapolate into kilowatt hour to make the feed. So it's very simple and basic. Let's quickly do it. So we go back to the same inputs all over again. We locate the particular input for the PV power, which is the one we want to manipulate, which is this PV power state. Now we are already logging PV power. We know how we have a figure for what it is exactly. So now we go to this process. We had a process to minus the battery power or the battery input from PV power. So we go here, we go down to inputs. We have a minus input here. Then we choose the battery power input, which is under battery node 1 here, which is this power state. Because I said you need to pay attention to what your feeds and inputs are really. So this is this power state. So now we have PV power minus what is going into the battery. So that will then again take us to the next process, which will be to now log the output. Remember that this is being executed sequentially. We had the very first input, which is the PV power. We have now removed battery power stick from it with minus subtracted rather. Sorry for my English to that. So now we're going to log the result of these two inputs processes that we've done, which is now, let us call that under, it won't be under the same solar section for ease. We are going to call this PV underscore direct underscore watts. It's going to be fixed time series interval because I need this to pull as quickly as possible, and I'm going to make it 10 seconds. 10 seconds. I add that. So now I have a number for it. I have a PV direct watts. But you also recall that what I need is the output in kilowatt hour for that web app. But either way, it makes good sense to just have it in watts and also have it in kilowatt hour. So that is even more that's simple. Those are another process to it. A power to kilowatt hour process. Yeah. So still the same solar. Now I will call this PV under direct underscore watts. I will rename it to kilowatt hour. Also the same 10 seconds. Although to be fair, I think energy should not be as quick as 10 seconds. So let's make it maybe a minute. I think that seems fair. A minute. Okay, seems I have something already named that way. Boom. So I then save this and I close it. So now under my feeds, I have a kilowatt. Oh, okay. I had one that was already named and wrong. I will delete that. Those two. Those are from a check I did. Anyway, now I have PV direct watts and PV direct kilowatt hour. So I have those figures here. Similarly, I will quickly do this, make them public so I can use them in the web app or on the dashboard. Then I will add the appropriate unit number to this to distinguish it easily. So which is now PV direct watts. So it's 42 watts at the moment. So I have this output. Going back to the web app itself, which is I think my solar battery demo, I will now choose the direct kilowatt hour feed here. And now my data is complete. I can now launch the web app and I will have everything here. So you can see at the moment, solar PV is very low and I'm actually importing from the battery. Nothing is going to the battery. I'm using the load is 92 watts, but I'm providing 42 watts from solar. So this changes to importing from the battery to the load. This is new. So the data here may not make too much sense now. It's really literally data from maybe like 15, 20 minutes ago. So but by the time I leave it for to run for a day or two, then makes a lot of sense. So that's our second web app demo. I also have tried this. We have actually a demo. We have also some apps here, if you remember.